Hello and welcome to Game of Thrones episode 3. This is a recap series of the Game of Thrones season 7. This week we're talking about the Queen's Justice, which is the third episode of the season. Queen's Justice being the episode name. My name's Nick.
And hi, I'm John.
Okay, I'll just jump straight into it. Straight into the episode. And anything you wanted to say before I did, or?
I don't think so. I've got a few predictions I'll come back to later on.
We'll get to predictions at the end.
And I've got some stuff to mention from last week's show. We'll naturally come on to that during the show.
Okay, I'll get into it if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Right, so we start off at the beginning of the episode. Jon Snow and company land on the beaches of Dragonstone and is greeted by Tyrion and Missandei. And we see like the Dothraki in the background pushing the boat to the side.
Yeah.
Missandei asked them to hand over the weapons.
You can see Jon Snow's a bit perturbed by the fact that the Dothraki are there. He's like, what's going on here kind of thing.
But yeah, it's just a quick scene. I think obviously Tyrion and Jon Snow, they were, I wouldn't say friends, but they interacted in season 1 back when Jon first went to the Wall, and it was almost a little bit of respect between them when they said hello to one another.
Yeah, definitely. You get the feeling they like each other as well. Yeah. So yeah, I
think what is it? Tyrion says hello, bastard, and he goes hello, dwarf. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
And then we basically see them walking up the steps to Dragonstone before the dragon.
Jon Snow jumps out of his skin.
Pretty much jumps to the floor, doesn't he? And Tyrion says, I'd say you get used to it, but you never really do. And they're walking up the steps anyway, up to Dragonstone, which basically brings us to the next scene, which is the Red Witch, which is Ilaria, is it?
Oh, the Red Witch, Melisandre.
Don't know why I said Ilaria. That's someone else altogether. Melisandre and Varys. She stood there watching them walk up the steps because she was literally the one that told Daenerys to get Jon Snow to come see her.
Yeah.
And then Varys comes and is basically like, "What? Why aren't you down there?" kind of thing.
Yeah, I think she says I've done my job. I brought together ice and fire. That's all I had to do, or something like that.
Not to the box. And they clearly don't like each other, these two.
Yeah.
Or at least Varys doesn't like her.
And definitely Varys can understand that she's not being totally truthful. There's another reason why she's not down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's this whole interaction. Melisandre, Melisandre basically says I'm going over to Volantis.
Yeah.
And Varys is like, why? kind of thing. And she's like, I'm done here. I'm done with Westeros. And Varys says, you should probably never come back.
But she replies with some comments of I'm destined to die here.
She basically says that, I'll be coming back one more time.
Yeah.
This is where I'm supposed to die or something.
Yeah, I'm destined to die in this strange land or something. As are you.
As are you. Which Varys seemed somewhat taken aback by that comment.
And knowing Varys, I think I mentioned before, he's not a big fan of the Red Witches anyway, because he had his tackle cut off and burnt on the authorization of a Red Witch or whatever it was. Yeah, so
I think you spoke about this to me earlier, that that might be a bit of a prediction potentially for future, that Varys is going to die.
I think I definitely don't think he'll see the show out, Varys.
Yeah,
I think he'll be gone by the end of the series.
And do you think that's any kind of confirmation, or?
I think so. I think almost, even though she got Stannis wrong, I think pretty much whatever she predicts will happen.
Okay.
She cursed the three kings to die: Joffrey, Robb Stark, and Balon Greyjoy, and it happened. So I feel like whatever she prophesies will kind of happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much the end of it. Like I say, Varys looks a bit like taken aback by that whole comment. It cuts from that scene, and this is probably a scene that a lot of people have been waiting for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people probably saw it going a bit of a different way.
Different, yeah.
But it's basically where Jon Snow meets Daenerys. And gets marched into the Great Hall where Daenerys is sat on a big stone throne kind of thing. Or dragonglass throne, I don't know. Is it dragonglass?
I don't know, to be honest. It's like a black kind of...
It's a very weird throne.
Diagonal cut kind of throne, isn't it? Yeah, but...
But yeah, they have this big interaction, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, it was... Like, it bugs me, to be honest, because... sorry, the woman, Daenerys is...
Missandei.
Missandei's basically rolling off all these...
that's good. She's like a breaker of chains, mother of dragons. And then he comes to her.
But, like, that bugs me. Like,
really?
Waiting for 5 minutes for her to finish all... Just call her Daenerys. Danny will be fine, you know what I mean?
Danny T.
Danny T. Shorten it as much as possible. But yeah, she's going on for about 5-10 minutes with all her breaker of chains.
Mother of dragons.
Dothraki...
the unburnt.
All this stuff. And then... Sir Davos goes, "This is Jon Snow." That Jon Snow kind of gives him a bit of a look, and he's like, "He's king of the north." So that was quite funny. To be fair, I quite enjoyed that. And yeah, Daenerys, it seems to be, I don't know, somewhat power mad, maybe, because
she is going that way a bit. I mean, I think we're going to see a bit of. Not as much she'll be going like a mad queen, but Cersei's trying to portray that to her people, that she's the mad queen. And I think she'll be given a few reasons for people to think that in future episodes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. Which is ironic, really, because Cersei's literally the mad queen. Like,
yeah.
So
she's portraying Daenerys to be the mad queen, yeah.
But yeah, like they have this interaction. Daenerys essentially asks... doesn't ask. She basically tells Jon Snow to bend the knee, to which he replies, "I'm not here to bend the knee. Yeah. I'm not going to do that," kind of thing.
But like the main thing is there really to explain to her is the fact that there's an army of White Walkers coming down from beyond the wall. And it's frustrating to a viewer because for seasons now, I've been watching it thinking, you all need to concentrate on the White Walkers. That's going to be the real battle. But when you get a scene like this where you're watching Jon Snow explain it to someone for the first time, you do think like, yeah, you sound mad. Why would they ever believe you? You know what I mean? Like
an army of dead people are coming to...
Literally coming down to destroy us all.
You wouldn't believe it, would you? But I think I think we've seen indication that obviously Tyrion's believing it.
Yeah, he seems to be on board, doesn't he? So
even though, like, I think in the first season, I think it's actually mentioned in a later episode, in a later scene, that like in the first season, he said, "Oh, it was basically a load of bollocks." It's all
myth and legend.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
That kind of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole scene, really, isn't it? She asked him to bend the knee. He doesn't. Tries to explain. Come on, there's an army of dead up here. You need to help us with. And that's pretty much.
Yeah, it ends with Daenerys saying, we've got a room laid out for you. Go up there and relax.
This is because Varys comes in, isn't it? And
that's right.
Varys comes in and tells her
some bad news.
That Euron's basically tells her of Euron's victory over the Greyjoys.
Euron's victory over the Greyjoys and the Dornish people as well.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But we don't find out until like it's almost another scene, isn't it? Where like
actually what happens with that? Yeah.
Where it goes to that scene where basically Varys is telling her like, There's no ships left. There's no one left. I think this scene, like, there's not much to this scene apart from that, is there?
Yeah, it just ends with that point where Jon Snow's like, "Am I your prisoner?" And she's like,
"Oh, sorry, no,
not yet," or something like that.
Yeah, that's before this bit, though, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Like, basically, she says to Jon Snow, like, yeah, we've got a room, like, we'll get a bath made out for you.
Rest,
Jon Snow says, "Am I your prisoner?" She goes, "Not yet." Then it cuts to Varys actually saying it to Daenerys out loud for us to hear, and he's saying, like, there's no one left. They're all dead, kind of thing. Not much to this scene at all apart from that. But then Daenerys says, like, no one's left, and it essentially just cuts to Theon being rescued at that point. Don't know if that means anything, because what's he gonna do?
I'd like to see him try to explain it. Like, it was a big battle. I just got knocked off the ship.
I mean, he tried to explain it when he got rescued, didn't he?
Yeah, and I don't think they were buying it. Were they?
They pulled him on, and he looked blue. He looked like he'd been sat in that water for days, just waiting for rescue. And they said to him, like, where were you, like, when Yara got bloody taken, kind of thing? And he says, "Oh, I tried to save her, but I couldn't do anything." And the guy just says, like, "If you'd have tried, you wouldn't be here."
Exactly. I think, like, the Iron Islanders have this theory of, like, you die in battle, kind of thing. Yeah. Like, you die or you don't come back, kind of thing. So just the fact he's still alive, they're like, oh.
I mean, it's just going to show he's, as someone work said today, he's kind of gone back to Reek mode, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Well, for me, he's back to just Theon mode from the season 1, just a coward, Like, he's always been just a bit of a shithouse, hasn't he? Like, yeah. So he's just back to the same old Theon again.
I'd like to see Theon do something, because, like, we've been watching him for like 6 seasons now. Yeah. We're in the 7th season of watching him, and all we've seen is, like you say, coward at the beginning. Then he got taken, he got tortured, he was Reek, he was just a mindless servant. And then finally we see where he saves Sansa, and we're like, oh, wow, he's actually doing something good here now. I hated him for the entire first bit, felt sorry for him for a few seasons there, and now he's actually doing something. And now he's just back to being bloody old Theon again.
Yeah, back to the old Theon.
So, like, because of all of it, I'd like to see something from him once.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm a bit sick of Theon. He could have died for me a long time ago now, and it'd make no difference, kind of thing.
Definitely,
so
same.
Maybe they've got something big planned for him towards the end, but
maybe. I feel like he's not got, like, it's more all about the Starks, really, isn't it? He's definitely not. Maybe that's the whole point. He's not a Stark.
He did save Sansa, so, like, in their books he could be back in favour, but
yeah, but, like, we don't know where he's going to go now. He could turn up back
at Dragonstone.
Dragonstone. I don't imagine him turning back up to the Iron Islands, because that's under Euron's control.
Yeah, so he probably wouldn't be welcome there, would he? But...
So, like, I imagine the only place that makes sense for him to show up to is Dragonstone at this point. And we know he was there. And Jon Snow, as far as Jon Snow knows, he
betrayed Robb Stark, so yeah.
I mean, we know Jon Snow's been spending a lot of time with Sansa, so maybe Sansa has told him
what happened, but
maybe we don't know. So we'll have to wait and see for the next episode. Yep. Just babbled on a bit about the Theon bit.
No, that's okay.
But it basically comes on to the next scene, which was probably one of my favourite scenes. It's Euron parading Yara, Ilaria, and the Sand Snake.
Yeah, this is great.
Through King's Landing, and he's being the big, like, cocksure man that he is.
Yeah,
and he's just like, oh, look at all these people cheering me.
Yeah,
I recall him pulling Yara forwards. I can't remember exactly what he said to her.
Well, speaking of being cocksure, he pulls Yara forwards and goes, oh, this is making me hard. He's just loving it.
He's absolutely loving it, isn't he? And it's just like a quick scene, but like everyone in King's Landing's like cheering him on, like, as if he's just saved them all.
I mean, I've got to admit, I love Euron. Just like a charismatic bad guy, you know, he's just so cool kind of thing.
He is dead cool, and he's wearing that coat that you mentioned.
Got that jacket from episode 1 that I loved. Yeah, I'm gonna get me one of those jackets. Definitely. Yeah.
That scene, it very quickly leads on to him bringing all 3 of them into the hall, the throne room.
Yeah.
Rides his horse into there, and he essentially just presents the gift that he promised to Cersei a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Which is
Alaria Sand, is it?
Alaria Sand and the Sand Snake.
Yeah.
Basically saying, so these are yours, and you can do what you want with them because they killed your daughter, essentially.
Yeah.
This was funny because like she basically says, Cersei stands up. She's like, with Euron leading our fleet, and
Jaime leading
our army, we're unstoppable and all this thing. But meanwhile, like at the side, Euron's talking to Jaime, asking him for some advice. Like, so a bit of advice. What's Cersei like? Does she like it up the bum?
Yeah, it's like a finger up the bum.
That's the one.
Yeah. Jaime's like, just fuming.
Euron is great, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more in this scene, apart from like Ilaria spits at
but at the feet of Cersei and stuff.
But like you basically get what you need from this scene.
Yeah.
Move on if that's okay. We go to Cersei speaking to Ilaria and the Sand Snake in the dungeons.
In the dungeons, yeah.
And getting her own back, essentially. They're both chained up in one of the dungeons, opposite each other. She's talking to Ilaria more than anything about Oberyn. Oberyn, sorry. Oh, not Oberyn. Oberyn.
Yeah.
And saying, I remember the day that the mountain crushed Oberyn's skull. I can still hear the sound now, and that scream that you let out.
Yeah,
I just knew then, or something, it was true, or something like that.
Yeah,
I might be just making that last bit up. But
she mentioned something about like Oberyn, like what a guy, like he was so skillful, athletic, agile. But he just got a bit too confident.
If only he hadn't shown off.
Yeah,
still be alive, kind of thing. And they basically they're talking about this for a while, and she turns around to her daughter and goes, "Very beautiful daughter you've got here. I've thought many times about how I'd kill her. I've thought about maybe getting the mountain to crush her skull like he did with Oberyn's.
Yeah,
but it's just too quick, that, innit? And then I don't think she says any other ways of killing her, but she basically takes the gag out of her daughter's mouth and kisses her, and everyone at that point knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
Basically giving her the exact same death
that her daughter had.
Gave
Myrcella.
Myrcella, that's the one. And so she kisses her, puts the gag back in, and says, the Maester's like a very clever man. He's figured out the poison you used to kill Myrcella.
Yeah.
And it's, what's it called? The Long Farewell, I believe.
Yeah.
The Long Farewell. And it gets quite sickening because she says like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to be here for the rest of your life now, and if you refuse to eat, we'll force it down your throat, and basically saying like you're going to be here forever now, and we're going to keep you alive, so you are here forever.
Yeah.
And basically she's saying like you're going to watch your daughter die, you're going to watch her face just drop, you're going to see
crumble into bone and dust, I think she said.
Like you're going to watch all of it. And she says like, make sure the guards change the torches every couple of hours so she doesn't miss a thing. Oh God. And like you see, I think the scene ends with them like with Ilaria and the Sand Snake kind of like trying to get to each. I took this as they were trying to like kiss or something to try and get the poison into her as well, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
that's
sure.
The way I took it.
Yeah.
I was reading a theory about this today, this scene anyway, which is saying how it was very reminiscent of. I haven't read the books. You might be able to help me with this. I think it must be in the books because I don't recall it from any episode. But it's very reminiscent of the way the Mad King killed two of the Starks, which was Brandon and Rickard.
Yeah.
Which was
Ned's dad and brother.
I think Brandon got put in a suit of armor apparently, and basically put fire underneath it and
got cooked in it, kind of thing, like
boiled to death. And Rickard basically had a noose around his neck with a sword just out of reach, so that he had to basically watch his brother die without being able to do anything. But like if he tried to help, he'd basically be hanging himself and like strangling himself. Like I can see the similarities whereas like Cersei's basically making Ilaria watch her daughter, and she's just out of reach and she can't do anything. And if you did try and get close to her, she probably would do herself some damage as well. It's not obviously exactly the same, but I can see where the similarities are there.
Come into it, the Mad Queen and the Mad King kind of thing. Yeah,
and like I say, it comes down to her becoming the Mad Queen.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit of an interesting little theory. That is a bit of
a bit of a tie-in kind of thing.
Quite like that. Are you alright?
I'm fine to move on. Yeah.
Next scene is Jamie sat in his chambers.
Oh yeah.
Just messing with his little golden hand. Cersei just kind of barges in, and she basically comes on to him. We see this all the time.
Yeah.
But she comes on to him. Jamie tries to push her away, and he can't do it for very long. He tried once, and that's it.
She wasn't having it.
That's them two for the night. Then, kind of cuts to the end in the morning when Jamie's just kind of watching asleep before a knock comes on the door.
Yeah,
and Cersei at this point doesn't care who knows.
Yeah. Definitely a bit more like the Mad Queen kind of stuff. Because she spent like 7 series denying that there's any relationship going on, that Joffrey was the product of Robert Baratheon, not from Jaime. And now she's just doesn't care and confirms that they were having an incestuous relationship the whole time, kind of thing.
I mean, I guess at this point with both previous kings dead, Joffrey and Tommen, it doesn't matter if she admits it. If she did it before,
I suppose, yeah.
Then their right to the throne would be
questioned,
void, it? But now, she just opens the door. I think Jamie says something along the line, "Oh, you can't do it." And she went, "I'm the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. I shall do what I want." And when she does just that, she opens the door to the person. This woman is there. She sees Jamie in the bed.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh."
And I think she basically said, "You've got a visitor from Dawn."
Oh wow.
Was it Dawn?
I forgot this bit.
Well, I think it was Dawn anyway. But that basically takes us to the next scene, which is where a man from the Iron Bank.
Ah, right.
Is.
I think, is it Bravos?
Is it Bravos?
I think so.
Sorry. Yeah, my mistake. But next scene is a man from the Iron Bank. They're basically talking to her about the Lannisters repaying all their debts.
Yeah.
And it seems very much like the Iron Bank are ready to pick another side.
Basically. They backed Stannis previously, and that failed, so...
I think it sounded like they were kind of on the fence about backing Daenerys, even though she's not asked for it, but it sounded like that anyway to me.
Well, definitely, because Daenerys has done away with the slave trade in over the water in Meereen and Volantis, and one thing they make the money from is the slave trade. Daenerys will be no friend to the Iron Bank kind of thing.
True, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're putting all the hopes on Cersei to her.
And I think like basically, I think he almost threatens her, saying like, you know, like we know that gold wins wars, like not soldiers, kind of thing. So like, you know, we'll be going elsewhere. We'll be helping someone else. Cersei says like, "Are you sure?" Because you know the other queen, well, the person who thinks she's got the right to the queen, this revolutionist, she's the one that kind of took the slave trade away from her.
Yeah. So she won't be any friend.
And then I think it kind of boils that Cersei comes back with another good line, which is like, we'll come back to you. Like, you can stay here for a couple of weeks, and after a few weeks you'll have we'll have repaid the gold, which is basically her knowing what was going to happen in the future scene.
Yeah,
which we'll get to in a minute. But so she's basically promising the gold in a couple of weeks. I'm guessing we'll see that in a future episode, though. Yeah,
I mean, I just go back to that, some stuff from the books. They make a big deal, I might be misremembering this, but they make a big deal in the books about how the Crown has massive debts to the Iron Bank, but the Lannisters have not got involved with that whatsoever. That was Robert Baratheon who ran those dets up. The Lannisters have still got an absolute shed load of gold at Castle Rock that they haven't used to pay the debts off. So it seems now in the show that there's no money anywhere. They haven't got gold at Castle Rock, and they haven't got gold at King's Landing either. But just a little different point from the books, that in that the Lannisters are still minted. They just haven't chosen to pay the debts off with their own gold, kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, I think they were quite rich, weren't they? Though the Lannisters.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, even in the show.
But I think they mentioned in this episode that there's no gold left and stuff like that at Castle Rock. That's run dry.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Maybe now they've taken Highgarden, and you know.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Are we all right with going to the next scene?
Yep.
Next scene is on the cliff again, with Tyrion and Jon Snow.
Yeah. Trying to outbrood each other.
Yeah, they're basically speaking about the army of the dead, and I can't actually remember much of this conversation, if I'm honest with you.
I think it starts when Tyrion goes up saying, "Oh, I was coming up here to brood, but you do it much better than I do."
I think they talk a bit about the army of the dead. I can't remember much.
I feel like Jon Snow was trying to get the point home that the army of the dead are coming, but Tyrion says, "Look, you're not going to get anywhere with that. Tell me what I can help you with." And it all boils down to, I think it then cuts to Tyrion talking to Daenerys, saying they want dragon glass.
Yeah, it's
you've got tons of it. Yeah,
basically, like you say, it cuts to Tyrion going like, just let him mine. Like, he just wants to mine the dragon.
Yeah,
like,
give them something.
You don't know what it is. Give them something and nothing, because you don't want it. You don't need it. They do, and if it turns out to be useless, then what is it to you? Kind of thing.
You don't lose anything.
Exactly,
yeah. That might be the one good bit of advice that Tyrion has actually given Daenerys.
Yeah.
Everything else has gone a bit south.
Has gone a bit skew whip, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But that again cuts to another scene, which is Jon Snow and Daenerys talking. So it's gone from Tyrion talking to Jon Snow, Tyrion talking to Daenerys talking to Jon Snow. It's
just a circle.
Yeah, it was the messenger boy, but now they've decided just to talk to one another.
Yeah.
With this seems probably more of what fans were looking for. I feel like fans wanted a kind of instant love between them, didn't they?
Yeah.
I feel like people wanted Jon Snow and Daenerys to be instantly good friends, but that scene earlier wasn't what they expected. This is probably more what they wanted.
Yeah.
Because Jon Snow approaches Daenerys, who's looking over at the sea. Daenerys says to Jon, you can mine the dragon glass. Go ahead. I'll give you men. And
men to help you mine it and stuff. Yeah. Just one point you mentioned there, though. I must be the only person in the world who feels this way, but I could not care about Jon Snow and Daenerys one bit. Like,
no,
I say they're everyone's fan favourites, aren't they? You know, even like George R.R. Martin says that Daenerys is his favourite character. But for me, I'm far more interested in Cersei and Euron. Get back to them, see what they're up to.
I like the characters. I'm not gonna lie, they're not my favourites, but I definitely don't care much about the relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know if fans are looking for them to
get together or something. Yeah.
I mean, they're probably going to just before Jon goes back and finds out that he's actually her nephew.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we'll come to that.
we'll see that in a future episode, I'm sure. But it basically allows him. He says to her, "Oh, so you believe me now, do you, about the White Walkers?" She says, "Oh, we best get to work." And that's just the end of the scene. But actually, no, he walks off, and Daenerys kind of shoots him a look while he's walking off, as if she's just like, I think this is again pointing towards her maybe getting a bit of feelings for him.
I think so.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not that interested in that whole side of things, but
well, we're going to get to it. But the way we're looking at next week, Jon Snow was the only ally she has left by the look of it. So
looks like it now.
Yeah,
she's. I mean, we don't know yet though, do it? Because Euron's approaching Casterly Rock.
Well, no. The way I understand it is, Euron's fleet have just literally stranded the Unsullied at Casterly Rock. They burnt all the ships and just left again.
Oh, that's fair.
So they're just stuck there now, kind of thing. The only. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to come back to it later? Or?
I was going to say that's later on the episode.
I'll come back to it later.
We'll get back to that. But after that scene with Daenerys and Jon, we cut to Sansa, and she seems to be doing like a really good job of leading.
It's like a little, almost like training montage, just her walking through and don't do this, do that. You need leather under those breastplates.
It's like a little thing, and obviously Littlefinger's following very closely behind.
Yeah, I love this little exchange they have here, though. I think they used this in the the preview trailers before the airing of the season, when he tells her to fight every battle everywhere at every time in your head, kind of thing, so you know every possible outcome. I just like that little detail. We're going to get to it in a minute, but I think there's one battle that Littlefinger couldn't have anticipated that we're going to come to in a minute. But
is this the next scene? Basically, when just after he finishes telling her that, a soldier comes to Sansa and goes, "Sansa, at the gate!"
Yeah,
and they run off, and everyone, I'm sure you were included, I was definitely included, everyone thought, "Oh my god, Arya's coming," and it wasn't. Yeah, it really wasn't. It was Bran.
I thought Bran was still at the wall.
Yeah. So I assumed it'd be Arya, but no, Bran showed up. Sansa kind of breaks down like, "Oh my god, Bran," gives him a hug, and he's just this very stone-faced, emotionless. "Hello, Sansa."
Hello, Sansa. Wouldn't even give her a hug or anything, but I mean, he was never the most charismatic of actors in the first place. He's got even less now. Like, he wouldn't even hug her. He's like, it's your sister you've not seen for...
I know, yeah. I mean, I know you're the three-eyed raven, but
but still.
But I mean, I'm taking from this that, like, because he's the three-eyed raven, and I think he explains it in the next scene under the weirwood tree with Sansa, but that he's seeing everything that has happened, everything that is happening. I'm not quite sure, but is he seeing everything that is going to happen?
I'm sure that's what it says. Yeah.
So he's just basically seeing everything ever. So
it does sound that way.
I'm taking from this that in his head that the reason he's so emotionless is because he's got all this flooding through his head, like right here and now isn't all that important.
Maybe, but I mean, Max von Sydow was the three-eyed raven before he took over, and he wasn't like Bran. He had a little bit of character to him. You know what I mean? Like a bit of emotion to him. It wasn't completely like, you know, maybe it's just the kid can't pull it off like Max von Sydow. Well, that's probably a good point. Max von Sydow's like a award-winning actor, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe.
He might be a little bit better than this kid.
You've probably got a point, yeah.
But on this, I think Bran, it's going to be hard for them to deal with the character of Bran, because if he knows everything now, you've got to be careful who he comes into contact with, because it could just like break the whole show.
Yeah.
Like, can I just mention a prediction here that I'm gonna have at the end of the show?
Yeah.
If he knows everything that's happened, he knows that Littlefinger was the guy who betrayed Ned back in Series 1 and basically was the cause for him being beheaded. So surely he'll tell Sansa that. Surely he'll tell Jon Snow that. Littlefinger couldn't have seen that coming because he doesn't believe in superstitious stuff like this. True, yeah. So this could be the downfall of Littlefinger.
Maybe, yeah.
Next week we could be seeing him getting beheaded or something by Jon Snow, maybe.
Who knows?
If they don't go there, then it's a bit of a like, you know.
I know, yeah.
This is my a bit like jumping the shark. Like, if Bran knows everything, you've got to be careful with who he talks to, because he could just like completely break the continuity of the show, kind of thing.
Very good point.
Yeah.
I mean, if they go down that road and Littlefinger does die, then maybe they've kind of salvaged it a bit. But we'll have to see how that plays out. I
mean, just talking about it, I like that idea, actually. Littlefinger is a genius who's just played the whole thing, but one thing he could not have seen would be this, you know what I mean? So,
like you say, in the previous scene, he was literally saying, like...
Yeah, fight every battle every time. Like,
in your head, know it's up, but he never...
There's no way of knowing what...
He never even considered a person that could have seen everything.
All of his deeds in the past, yeah.
That's very interesting, like.
Yeah.
But after that, after they've reunited, like I said before, Sansa and Bran are like talking under the weirwood tree. This is probably, it's so weird, like what Bran said. Basically, he says to her, "I'm the three-eyed raven." She basically says, "Can you explain that to me?" And he says, "Oh, I mean, no." I think he tries. He's like, I've seen everything that has happened, everything that is happening, and everything that will happen, kind of thing. And I don't know if he's just trying to like convince her of this, but he picks the worst example.
Yeah.
Basically, he's saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry for all the bad things that happened to you," and in our house, in our home as well.
Yeah.
Obviously talking about Ramsay Bolton, and it's like, "Oh, it was a beautiful night that night, snowing like it is today."
Yeah.
You were beautiful too.
You look beautiful.
You look beautiful too. You're in your white wedding dress. I was like, wow. You've literally just told her you look beautiful, and that night you got raped.
Yeah.
Well done, Bran.
I feel like Bran is using like this power of the three-eyed raven, like it's Pornhub or something. Just going back and watching all these rapes happen and stuff like.
I mean,
picturing like Max von Sydow, like, "No, you're using it the wrong way. Don't do it for this."
That's a very interesting point. If he can see everything, he doesn't need to go on Pornhub.
Just Branch peeking through windows and stuff like that.
I mean, he doesn't need to peek, does he?
I suppose he can just walk straight in, can't he? Yeah.
Just stood there in front of him.
Like Hollow Man. Just going around Hollow Man in people.
Oh God, didn't even consider that. Bran, you're using it for the wrong stuff. Forget about this war with the White Walker.
Yeah, put that laptop away.
But yeah, he essentially tells her, "You look beautiful the night you got raped by Ramsay Bolton."
Bit awkward.
Which I'd have used anything else. I'd have used absolutely any other example, like "Oh, sorry about Littlefinger bringing you here. Sorry about you being there to watch father die."
I was going to say, you could have made it worse, I suppose. Been like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, I saw when you were there when Ned got his head chopped off as well."
I still feel like that's better though.
Yeah,
saying that.
Yeah, probably.
I watched you get raped.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You look beautiful.
That's what I mean. It's disgusting. Oh,
yeah,
God.
a bit weird.
But yeah, enough of that scene.
Yeah, so Bran's a creeper. We've established
Sam's
that.
a bit of a creeper. Bran's a creeper. But talking of Sam, that takes us to our next scene.
Yep.
Which is Jorah getting inspected by Archmaester. Archmaester Ebros. Yeah, that's he's getting inspected by him, and he's getting poked and all this stuff, and Archmaester Ebros is basically going, wow, your infection seems to not be there anymore.
Yeah,
and we see his skin, which looks surprisingly good for a man that just got it all cut off
the night before. It's grown back quite well.
I know. I mean,
it's not shrieking in pain or anything.
I expected to see just
just like muscle and tissue and stuff.
Yeah, like a lot of muscle tissue, just naked flesh. But no, it's just skin.
It seems fine. Bit lumpy and scarry, but nothing terrible.
It looks like he's got a bit of a rash, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically...
Bit of a eczema.
Bit of eczema, yeah.
Bit of an ointment on that, clear it right up there.
Yeah. And basically, Archmaester Ebro says you're free to go. You're no longer infection free.
I like the little bit they want to say to him, like, oh, it's remarkable. It's cleared up really well. Yeah, I've got a lot of sleep recently.
It was I think Archmaester says, like, I wonder what it makes me wonder, like, how you've managed to overcome this illness. And he goes, oh yeah, I feel like it's just all the sleep and the rest and the was you say the atmosphere or
the climate, this climate as well.
And this climate, it's like, oh, the climate.
That's good, that.
And that's it. I think like there's a bit of a heartwarming goodbye from Sam. Well, not goodbye, but more like see you later. From between Sam and Jorah. They do like a little handshake. It's like, I'll see you again.
Just to show that he's convinced he's cured. He's actually touched his hand, like without fear of infection, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he offers the hand, doesn't he? And Jorah basically he has almost like a shocked look on his face, but he's just like, oh, wow, thank you. Well,
there's one bit there. He offers the hand, and Jorah shakes his hand, but then he puts his scabby grayscale hand on top of it as well. I was thinking, no, keep that away from me. I'll shake that hand.
Oh, I'm gonna have it now. That scene ends with that little touching interaction.
Yeah,
and it cuts to Archmaester Ebros talking with Sam about the miraculous recovery.
Yeah,
I'm saying how miraculous it is, and it's like, wow, it seemed almost as if the skin had been cut off and a fine ointment had been applied to it. It's like, oh, but he knows anyway, and he basically congratulates Sam. It's like, wow, like some full-blown maesters have tried it and they've been infected and died from it.
Yeah.
So how you've done it without infecting you or anyone else, like, is amazing. You should be proud of yourself, kind of thing. And like after he says like you should be proud of him, he's like, oh, follow me. And he leads him to this table and he basically says like all these scriptures and
scrolls and stuff,
they're all wearing out. They need to be copied. Off to work you go. And Sam looks a bit taken aback, and Archmaester Ebros goes, "Oh, you thought you were gonna get a reward, didn't you? For that? Well, this is your reward, not getting instantly kicked out of the Citadel." And I think it ends with him saying, "Be careful of the paper lice,
paper mites,
paper mites. They like human flesh too." And that's the end of that scene.
Yep.
Not much else going on with that. And next scene is Daenerys, Tyrion, and Varys, and
Melisandre.
Melisandre.
Oh, Melisandre.
That's the one.
The Red Witch?
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Missandei.
Missandei.
Yep.
God, they're all very similar.
Yeah.
Goes back to what you were on about changing Yara's name to Yara.
Yeah, she was called Osha in the book. Changed it to Yara because it was too similar to Asher. Oh, sorry, she was called Asher in the book.
Oh, right.
And they thought that was too similar to Osha, so they changed it to Yara, which isn't similar to Arya whatsoever.
No. But we've got Melisandre and
Missandei, yeah, and they're both in the same place as well, which doesn't help.
It's very, very confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's Daenerys, Missandei, Tyrion, and Varys, and they're basically speaking of finding and destroying Yoram's fleet. Well, more Daenerys is talking about doing this.
Yeah.
She's saying how, I think everyone's basically saying we've got no fleet, we can't really do it. And she's like, we've got dragons.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, essentially.
Yeah. Can't do that. We've got a plan. We'll stick to it. One thing I do like about this is the Casterly Rock section.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do like about this, it's not particularly well directed or anything, but what they're doing here is kind of a thing that a lot of directors have done. The last time I saw it was in the masterpiece, The A-Team by Joe Carnahan.
Yeah.
And they explain the plan, literally verbalise the plan over the footage of the plan being carried out, which is always a good way to do it, kind of thing. It's not exactly carried off perfectly here, but you hear Tyrion explaining the plan, how they're going to get to Casterly Rock, going to meet strong resistance, and it shows the actual soldiers getting there with the ladders, very Lord of the Rings-ish, putting the ladders up, trying to get up the rampart. But he then explains there's a back door which I created, and it shows the Grey Worm and a few soldiers swimming towards the tunnel through the cliffs. I just like the way they direct, the way over Tyrion's explanation of it, they show the plan actually taking place. It's a good economical way of doing it, because you're hearing the plan and you're seeing it actually carry out at the same time.
Yeah, like you say, you see them going up to the wall. And then it kind of goes back and I was like, but that's never going to work.
It's a very it's not done as well as Steven Soderbergh, but it's a very Steven Soderbergh thing to do. This kind of explain the plan and show it happening at the same time as well. Yeah.
But like you say, he explains, doesn't he, that his father chose him, the lowest person, to build the sewers when he was building Casterly Rock. So because his dad weren't all that keen of him having hewers, and stuff like that, he basically built an underground tunnel so that he could smuggle them in, and that's where Grey Worm and the Unsullied were going.
Actually get in, yeah. But can we go into the scene now? Once they get in there, Grey Worm's like, there should be more than this, or whatever his accent is. Where are all the soldiers? Just
before you go on, I was shocked to find out in an interview with that guy that he's not foreign at all. Perfect English.
I think is he from Hollyoaks or something, maybe?
Something like that. But I thought he actually had an accent.
A lot of the Game of Thrones cast are from Hollyoaks. It's a bit weird.
But yeah, come on.
Yeah, he's like, where are all the soldiers? There should be more than this. And then it pans over to Euron's fleet, burning the entire fleet of Unsullied ships. And I don't know how we actually find out this, but is it? I think Cersei mentions this in another scene. How the plan is, they burnt all the Unsullied ships. The Unsullied are stuck at Casterly Rock. Oh, so it's Jaime at the very end. Jaime explains this to Olenna. So I'll leave that for now. But Grey Worm's a bit miffed. He's looking over, thinking the ship's getting burnt. Where are the soldiers?
I think you mentioned it before, didn't you? That I didn't get this until you just said it, but that they're kind of stranding them there at Casterly Rock. Yeah,
the reason being, the only way they can now get back to Dragonstone is to march. So if they march, they're going to get picked off along the way, kind of thing. They've got no other way to get back there, so that was the plan.
I guess they could hold Casterly Rock, couldn't they?
Yeah, that was the other plan. They said they could either stay there in an abandoned castle and serve no purpose whatsoever, or they can march across.
Which I'm sure the Unsullied would be extremely ecstatic to do. Just stay in one place, not serving the breaker of their chains.
Yeah, not fighting the war for it. Yeah.
I mean, it was quite an epic scene as well, wasn't it? When like they descended on the thing, and like you seen them throw like the spear and the guy going through the door.
Yeah, that was quite good. Oh, I like that bit. Yeah, there's that Grey Worm when he gets up on the ramparts and he's fighting his way through and impales that guy with a spear. That was quite good. He's
literally like he's not even touching the ground. This guy is literally like
pinned into the door,
onto the door. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see, like you say, Euron's fleet attacking and all that. But then we cut from that to Lady Alina. Well, we don't see her at first. We see like armies descending on what I instantly assumed was Castle Rock.
Okay.
I instantly, because I don't remember ever seeing Highgarden before.
We've never seen Highgarden before.
So this episode is the first time we've seen both
first time.
Castle Rock and Highgarden.
Yeah.
So we see like the Lannister armies descending upon this castle situated on top of like a little mountain cliff thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bit of an issue with this, just in terms of, I know there's no other way of doing it, but it just feels a bit cheap, just the way that, I know they're just showing a bit of a brief battle at Castle Rock, but Highgarden is made out to be this like massive important place in Westeros. And it's that easy just to literally march up with your army and like, yeah, we'll take this. Like, they couldn't take, I can't think of the name now. The place where Catelyn Stark was from. I want to say Rivendell, but it's not Rivendell. That's Lord of the Rings.
It is, yeah.
Riverrun.
Riverrun, yeah.
That's it. They couldn't take Riverrun for ages.
Was that from the Blackfish?
Yeah, but the Blackfish was holding it for ages. They were under siege, but they couldn't get in.
Yeah.
How come they could just march through Highgarden so easily?
I think the next scene almost mentions that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because like you see the armies marching up, then it kind of pans to Elena, Lady Elena, Olenna.
I think Elena. Yeah.
Like basically watching from her window.
Yeah.
In the very nonchalant way that she does. Before it cuts to her. Well, I think it's Jaime marching down a corridor, and then it's Lady Elena. He goes into a room. It's Lady Elena, sat at a table, and she's like, "So, how do we do?" and she basically says, like, I think she says, "Oh, we've not got a great army, never have," kind of thing.
She says, like, "How did we fight?" And it's like, yeah, okay. And she's like, yeah, it was never our forte. We're more into roses.
So I think that must be why it got taken so easily, because they're just not a great army. They're more about, like you say, roses and
yeah. It just seems a bit very convenient, like budget wise kind of thing. This great family have like built up this like empire over the years, and all of a sudden now they just march in and take it. It's like anyone could have done that,
I mean, I don't know, because like a lot of their like high people were like taken out, wasn't they?
Yeah.
So
she was the only member of the Tyrells left, like, yeah.
So maybe it's to do with that. Maybe like Marjorie had like a lot of people turned against him. Well, that's actually a point. In last episode, Lord Sam's dad,
Randall Tarly,
Lord Tarly, yeah.
He was shown once.
He was like
one of their bannermen.
One of the bannermen for the Tyrells.
That's a good point. He has a great army.
So like without him, which I'm assuming they don't have anymore. That's why
they showed him actually marching with Jaime towards Highgarden. Yeah.
Well, there you go then. So that's why it was so easily taken, because they've got no allies anymore.
Yeah.
They're just a broken family at this point, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, we come to this room. Lady Elena's sat there, and she's basically being her pretty cool person that she always. I've always liked that character, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the actress Diana Rigg, she is amazing. Like, she was on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and she was amazing in that. In the Avengers TV show, The Avengers.
Was she?
Yeah, she was amazing in that. Yeah. So she's a really well-known actress.
No, I love her. I think she's amazing. She really is. I mean, that if she's like that, I've never seen her in any of these films, but it explains why. Like, do you know when she first came to the show, it almost seemed like it was a big moment when she came into it. It was like, introducing. It felt very much like.
Yeah, she's a pivotal character.
Well, not even the character. Like, they were introducing like a famous person, so like I'm supposed to be there going, wow, look who it is. And so that explains why I felt that kind of way.
Like, just on a random point there, like one of Frankie Boyle's jokes he always mentions is he'd love to invent a time machine so we can go back to the 60s and meet Diana Rigg.
Really?
Go meet her in the 1960s. Kind of. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. We have this whole interaction. Lady Elena says to Jamie, like, so how's it going to happen? Basically talking about how you're going to kill me. And Jamie says, like, well, Cersei wanted to do it one of a couple of ways. She wanted to either, I think it was parade you through King's Landing before hanging you, I think.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I think there's another one which was even
worse. It's like a beheading one or something, maybe, or...
Something like that. It was even worse than that, though. And Jamie was like, yeah, but I talked her out of that. Something that I'm pretty sure he soon came to regret.
I was thinking that.
But yeah, he says, like, I managed to talk her out of that, takes the bottle out of his pocket, pours it into the wine, pushes it over to her.
Yeah.
Just drink it kind of thing. She says, will it hurt? And he says, no, it'll be fine. So she just basically downs the wine at this point.
Yeah.
She goes, good, I'm glad it won't hurt me. This is after drinking the wine. I'm glad it won't hurt. I'd hate to die like Joffrey did, like with red eyes, like scratching at my throat,
purple face.
And she went, it must have been a shock to you being, the King's Guard and his dad kind of thing. It certainly was a shock to me. It was never the way I intended it. Basically admitting for the first time
that was good.
That she was the person behind Joffrey's death.
Yeah.
And she did this kind of drop the mic thing at the end where she's just like, do tell Cersei, I wanted to know. Drop the mic. I thought that was amazing. Good. Like what a way for that character to go out.
And Jamie can't handle it, can he? He's just like shaking and leaves the room, kind of thing.
I mean, he must have been furious that he allowed her to die that way.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it was a great scene.
Absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved it.
Just funny how the character who dies in that scene is actually the one getting revenge almost. It's weird, isn't it?
She still gets the last laugh, doesn't she? Like she's still almost the smarter one of them. I mean, I don't know if Jamie will go back and tell Cersei. I have a feeling that Jamie won't even say out. Because
maybe not.
It seems a bit pointless.
Although maybe he will tell her so that Cersei knows that Tyrion didn't do it. She always thought Tyrion would have done
maybe. But at this point, what's that going to do? Apart from making her absolutely furious, which I guess could lead, like, if he tells her now, like, Lady Elena kind of admitted it was her that poisoned Joffrey. She'd go furious and go, "Oh my God, you didn't let me kill her the way I wanted to," and it could lead up to Jamie killing her. It could turn her into
another point of conflict. It
could turn her into the full-blown Mad Queen kind of thing. But that's it for the episode. There, that's where it ends.
Yep.
Like before we'll get into the next episode. But before we do you want to go over any theories, or do you want to rate it first? What do you reckon?
Do the ratings first.
Do the ratings first. What are you rating it?
I don't know what I've rated the last two, to be honest. I've totally forgot what I gave him, but I'll go 4 out of 5.
I'm pretty sure that you did that last episode. Yeah.
Just because I think hopefully there's better ones going to come, of thing. So.
That's my thinking as exactly. I so far I've given 3 4 out of 5 ratings.
Oh, right. I might be the same, to be honest.
I think we both have gone down the same kind of path, and it's the same kind of thing for me, John. I'm thinking there's going to be better episodes coming, so I'm saving the 4.5s and 5. I'm assuming there's going to be a 5 up there somewhere.
Yeah.
for future episodes.
Yeah. Not that it's getting predictable, but I'm sure I predicted the High Garden thing. I need to go back and listen to our episode from last week, but I'm sure I mentioned the idea of the Lannisters taking High Garden a bit before.
You reckon?
I think so, yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. Can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either now. But I've got a couple of predictions for next week if you want to get into that, is that okay? Mention the Littlefinger thing. If they don't cover the fact that Bran knows about what he did to Ned Stark back in Series 1, it feels a bit of an oversight almost, you know what I mean? You've got a character there who's literally boasting about the fact he knows everything.
Yeah. By telling his sister that he saw her get raped.
Yeah. Using the worst possible example. Yeah, so you've got a character there boasting about the fact he knows everything. He should let it slip that Littlefinger was involved in Ned's death. So I think that will kick off next week. And the other thing is, I think the Lannister army on the way back from Highgarden, I'm sure I've mentioned this before as well, I think on their way back from Highgarden, I think Daenerys is going to lose the plot.
Okay.
Launch an attack with the dragons and just take that army out on the way back.
Oh, Jaime's with that army though.
Jaime's with that army, and they made a point of showing that Randall Tarley was there as well. So I think Randall Tarley could be for it, and Bronn, yeah.
I don't see Jaime dying. Don't know how he's going to escape, but if she's going over there with her dragons, although we now know that there's a weapon that could take out the dragons. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced about that crossbow.
Any more theories you've got?
No, just them two really. Littlefinger, and on the way back from Highgarden, Daenerys will get peed off with Tyrion's advice and launch an attack.
I think you're quite set on the idea that Daenerys is going to lose it at some point in the season, aren't you?
Yeah, just get on a dragon and just go for it kind of thing, yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly for the next episode, but we've spoke in the past about potentially like all the like people coming together to fight the White Walkers by the end of the season. This is my theory anyway. It kind of goes against that in a way. I feel like Jon Snow and Daenerys will come together, but I really don't see Cersei joining that at all. I feel like in order for them lot to do it, either Cersei will have to die and Jaime takes the throne, but essentially Cersei can't be in the picture for the Lannisters to join in the war against the White Walkers. So she because I don't see her willing to join teams with Jon Snow or Daenerys. But those two would be okay, and I think Jaime would be okay with joining up with her. But like, I think we're almost certain that season 8 will be a war against the White Walkers at this point. But in order for that to happen and for everyone to join up forces to fight them, I don't think Cersei can be. So that's my prediction for the end of the season anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking the final episode will be they all meet up. Excuse me, Cersei, Jaime, Jon Snow, Daenerys. Who else is there?
Euron again.
Euron, he'll be there probably. I'm sure there must be other ones I'm not thinking of, but I think about 7 or 8 of them all get together for a big meeting in the last episode, and they'll all hammer it home, saying we need to go and fight the White Walkers. I think something might happen by that point to convince everyone that they know about it. Something's
got to happen, but the only thing is, like, the only thing that would happen is they're actually seen. Like south of the wall.
That's what I mean. I think there'll be a big. Oh well, we know there's a big battle coming.
We know that
from the trailers, yeah. So,
but
we saw like Jon Snow and Beric Dondarrion on that. They were like cornered on a cliff fighting the White Walkers.
Oh yeah.
So there's some like big confrontation coming, and I think that will be what convinces everyone that it's real.
Okay. Because we know it's got to come to Winterfell first. If they're going to come,
Winterfell's the first stop.
Hit, isn't it? That I think that's it for the predictions or anything. But I'd like to get into it. It's only going to be a short little segment, but basically the trailer for the 4th episode. We've watched this today.
Yeah,
the two of us. No, it's only short. It's for about 30 seconds long, I think.
Yep.
Not much to really take from it, I think. Where it basically starts off with Cersei walking on that giant map of Westeros, saying, my main focus at this point is to have full control of Westeros and bloody everyone in it.
Yeah.
We see Daenerys basically admitting that she's losing.
Yep, and she's annoyed at Tyrion. Presumably.
She seemed... yeah, we're presuming it's Tyrion because she's saying, stop with your clever plans.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting annoying, essentially, because they're not working, are they? We see... I think we see Arya rock up to Winterfell.
See a flash of Arya. We see a flash of Littlefinger looking smug about something. Yeah. A flash of Sansa sat at like a desk or something. Yeah,
but there's not much to take away from it.
Not many other big points, really, is there?
No, I mean, I think we could have guessed that Daenerys was going to get pissed off at Tyrion at some point.
Yeah.
And that Cersei wanted control, and that Arya was going to rock up to Winterfell.
Yeah,
so it didn't really tell us much. But that's it, I think, for Game of Thrones talk. Bit of housekeeping before we end the episode.
Yep.
So I'd like to give my Twitter away if anyone would like to contact us with any feedback. If you just want to chat, I can be found at DSTE Nick.
Yeah, I'm always up for a Game of Thrones chat on Twitter, so I'm at Taylor1980. Yep.
We also have a main Twitter podcast, which is at DST Podcast.
Yep. We have a Facebook page. I don't know what it is.
It's facebook.com/DST podcast.
Nice one.
You can actually rate us on that Facebook page. So as long as it's 5-star, go ahead and go. I'm joking, but
I'm not. Only 5 stars, please.
It's preferable. It's definitely preferable. You can rate us on there, message us on there, any reviews, anything like that. Just like us on that page, anything like that.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Definitely.
But that's it from me, and I think that's it from you, John.
Yeah, I'm all done this week.
Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you again for next week for episode 4, which is called The Spoils of War, I believe.
Ah, right, okay. Interesting.
Don't know what that means, but we'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
So thanks very much for listening.
Yep.
And bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.